Good evening, everyone, and a huge Keida Mille Faucha to the Arthaus Hotel in the heart of Dublin. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Vitor Vicente, and I'm absolutely delighted to be your host and moderator this evening as we celebrate the first anniversary of the Witty Wicklow Writers Workshop. I'll just breathe for a few seconds to make sure this is real. Can you believe it? 1 full year of monthly gatherings, crack and banter, deep dives into the writing life, few laughs, and a lot of creativity flowing across Wicklow and far, far beyond. As always, I'm joined by my two brilliant co-conspirators in the Witty Trio, Jeroen van Domme, coming all the way from Greystones, and Maria Stravopolo, who just made her way from Newtown, Mount Kennedy. Over the past 12 months, we have explored everything from restoring our reading habits when life gets hectic, to what Shakespeare might say about modern love and being cancelled for it, to how travel shakes up perspectives and stories. We have had live sessions, online streams, and most importantly, we built a real community of writers, readers, dreamers, and crazy curious minds who just love words. And tonight, to mark this milestone, we are diving into something truly, truly inspiring: the intersection of the arts, how painting, music, film, dance, and all those glorious forms sneak into our writing, and how writing, in turn, influences them right back. Because creativity doesn't live in a simple place. It's a big, messy, beautiful conversation across disciplines. We'll have a lively chat about those cross-pollinations, share some short readings from our own work that show how those influences impact us, and we'll open the floor to your questions for those in the premises and for those in YouTube. And there'll be exciting news that you can be part of it, One is our Witty Wicklow Writers magazine. The other one is our adventures across Ireland in Cork and Longford. So settle in, grab a drink if you haven't already, and let's make this evening as fun, thoughtful, and witty as the workshop itself has been over the past year. Jeroen, Maria, are you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
Never 100%, but always.
Maria the Motivator.
Yes.
That's our new nickname. I just have to say we are late because I'm not making it up. We are just being interviewed by Samuel. So there'll be a piece on the city.ie about this workshop. That's the reason why we had to start a bit later. So our apologies in advance. Getting back into the topics, Maria, we will go the old-fashioned here.
Okay.
And start with the ladies. Okay. I'd like to ask you, how does visual arts talk to your heart?
Oh, it's a tough question to ask, but not really, because in my mind, when I write, it's cinematography. I'm visualizing, the camera work, where the light is, where everyone is standing, all of it. So it's part. I cannot, sort of what I do, I can't write without.
Sorry.
I visualize that. I can't write without.
No, the problem is not to
thinking.
interrupt you. The problem is just a bit of advertising. This YouTube channel now is monetized, so there are ads. So I got some ads in my phone.
Good to know how things work.
So go on.
No problem. I was just saying that, I need to know where everything is. And I do the same as a reader as well. I always used to do it. I loved having a good scenery. Now, I don't want to take from the story, of course. I don't think, everyone is the time to be Jules Verne, 200 pages of, descriptions before you go into the plot. But I think you cannot take the visuals out of the writing. You can't take the writing out of the visuals. It's when, different things meet, I think, that you have the best result, because writing is kind of limited as reading when you think about it. Like, you have a page in front of you, there's some printed things to recognize, and there's nothing beyond that. So making it come alive, it depends on its music. That's why we have rhythm in writing as well. It depends on the visuals. There's so many things that bring just words out alive. And if you think about it, it's phenomenal how you have black and white. That's where you start from, or that's where you want to go when you're sitting down and you're writing and it's just a blank page. And yeah, everything meets together, and I think you really cannot break them apart. I love setting the scene in my head first, and then when I write, see if it came true to what I had pictured, I guess.
Right. I just want to let people know that I wrote this book inspired by a painter. His name is Harry Kerno. He was an Irish Jewish painter who was a big, huge, massive fan of Dublin and Ireland, like myself. And in his work, he portrayed aspects of daily life. Okay, so you can see here a bit of Ringsend, 2004, if I'm not wrong. You have Dunleary. So these works serve as inspiration for this book. So for sure, I can relate to the idea of engaging on a dialogue with visual art. So that was just a starting point. I was not trying to connect directly to the message that I perceived in the hurricane of works. They were just, say, the beginning. So at the end, I will read some of the prose poems, okay? But this time, I haven't selected them in advance. I'll pick them randomly, and I hope I won't regret it. They're all shite anyway, so it's okay. The other thing I'm very much into is woodcuts, by the way. I might do one on woodcuts, but that's another story for another time. I'd like to get your understanding of visual arts. How does that play a role when you are writing? Have you ever been inspired by a specific work?
Not so much by a specific work, but I think for me, writing is a way of building a picture. So you're almost painting a picture, but you're not using kind of traditional ways of painting it. Mm-hmm. So the way I see it a little bit is you start with your blank piece of paper, and instead of putting images in it like you would if you were doing a painting, you're using words to create a visual image. So I don't have there's a lot of artists and a lot of painters who inspire me on a lot of different levels. But I think for me, the cross section really comes because I'm basically trying to build a picture. And starting with a blank page is like starting with a blank canvas. And when you start to bring in the words into it, it starts to fill in the color, it starts to fill in the surrounds by it. But for instance, music, I'm a huge fan of music. And so there's a lot of music that's inspired me to write. But funnily enough, as I've said before, I always switch off music when I'm writing because I find that it doesn't allow me to concentrate properly. But there's a lot of, let's say, ideas in songs or ideas that I've come across in music that have definitely inspired things that I've written. For sure. So more maybe music than
we get into music in a moment. Yeah.
It's still an art form, I presume.
Yeah. So. But now that you mentioned music, music was my next, but just following order. We'll go back to Marie. I think we spoke about music loads of time, and we have been doing this for a year. So knowing how much we are into music, we wouldn't have neglected. But I don't remember exactly what were your words on music, Maria. So if you can remind my bird memory of your perception of music.
I love it that you assume that I remember what I'm saying.
It's recorded, so we can always go back.
I think the safest thing would be to go back to whenever I say what I say and check what I said then, because
you would have changed your mind, no?
Yeah, okay, let's call it change my mind. And not Maria has the memory of a goldfish. Says one thing one day and then after the next. I don't know. I think music is very important for me. I think I've done some of my best work influenced by a specific piece. And it's usually some sort of Viking temple gods coming down on us, ancient Greek temples crumbling stuff. I don't know. It's, again, like I said, I feel I'm writing cinema so graphically. It's a new word. So there's scenes, there's cameras, there's light, there's music, there's so much music. And there has been times, there's one little piece that is making it into my book at the moment, and I really, really like. I thought of it because I was listening to a game soundtrack, Banner Saga, by the way, you need to check it out. And I just thought the whole thing based on a soundtrack of that particular game. And now this whole thing has sort of snowballed, and there's a whole civilization in the book coming out because I closed my eyes and I thought, oh, this looks like this and that. I'm not telling you anything, by the way. It looks like this and like that. And as I said, it's snowballed. So I think it can be a great source of inspiration, whether you start from, oh, that song makes me feel things or think things, whether you have an idea and then you're listening to a song and it sort of helps you through the scene, like especially if it's an action scene and battles and the kind of stuff that I like to write, it kind of gives you the feeling for it. And I'm not saying that, I'd be a worse writer without it, but I actually think I would. I think it really, really helps me to have the soundtrack in my head as I'm writing. So I haven't even tried to be without it. I always need to have something playing on, and sometimes I will stop writing and I will not continue until I have found that piece that fits what I have in my mind, and then I continue on. And it's actually a way to discover great music, I think, because if you keep looking for it, it says the writing back, but it can be really helpful. So if you want to try something, you just stop writing, listen to some music, then continue. That's why I've been writing this book for a long time and it's not done yet. So that's my ideas on music today.
Blame it on the music.
He exposes all my secrets.
Is there a specific tune that inspires a specific type of writing for you?
I like instrumental music very, very much. That's what I.
You mean like Goa music?
Like what?
Goa music?
Goa music?
You don't know Goa music?
No.
It's a hardcore techno music.
New stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's usually Viking stuff, ancient Roman inspired Greek. Video game music is really, really good. Really, really good.
What is video game music?
Video games music. That's your homework.
I cannot remember of like Super Mario Bros.
Yes, I'm writing.
That old.
Okay, picture this. There's a dragon sort of flying down. You think like The Hobbit or something like that. Very, very big production. And I'm there going, dun, 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 which is Nintendo Wii, by the way, because that's all the
that
music
is very inspiring. With your permission, I will move to that table and start writing.
Yes, go away for a second. Yeah. No, it kind of needs to fit, I think. So I was thinking more Banner Saga, Clair Obscure, this sort of game. Oh. Yeah, the stuff that's actually not 8-beat tunes that you'd hear at the supermarket or at your GP waiting to get your blood test back. That's my process. Everyone's process is different.
Yeah, no, I have to admit in public that I'm going to be as open as a book. That's the right metaphor, no?
Yeah.
For the circumstance. And the reason why I'm a writer is because I'm a frustrated singer. I've tried to sing, tried to be part of rock bands. I didn't succeed. Maybe I was too young and impatient. I don't know. So to the scenes of my shower, I don't know, just sing at the shower.
It's a big scene.
It's a big scene. Luckily, I usually shower at the gym, so my neighbors can be in peace.
It's a bigger scene.
But I feel sorry for the gym members and the staff.
Where is this gym?
Maybe I'm responsible for the gym not being able to fix the jacuzzi because there are less and less members there, and then it probably is my fault. Yeah, I should give up on my singing career.
Weekly newspapers next week.
Yeah. So let's go serious here. And for that, we move to you because you are the serious
I'm
type.
serious, yeah.
Yeah. I know for you, like, music is a big thing, huge. You know, it's a piece that you cannot live without.
Yeah.
And you're also a DJ, so probably you can tell us about the intersection of being a DJ and a writer.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, music is probably like an addiction to me. I describe it as maybe being the healthiest addiction you can have, except for, I don't know, exercise or something like that. You know, and I can't go a day without music. It's just not possible. But it's a funny thing because the process of, let's say, DJing is very different from the process of writing. You know, the process of DJing, you're in front of people, you're trying to get them to move on the dance floor, not always successfully. And so it's a different way of thinking. Writing is quite solo, it's quite on its own, and it doesn't have that everybody looking at you, or what I mean, the lights on or whatever. But I suppose that the music part of it is a lot of, like I was saying earlier on, a lot of different songs, a lot of different styles of music that I listen to, and I've listened to pretty much everything there is, will give me possibly a storyline, or they give me kind of, a solving for writer's block. Actually, sometimes it happened as well, where I've been like stuck and I can't get further, and writer's block it's horrible. You really kind of like, oh, what's the next bit? And then you're listening to a song and you suddenly go, oh, hang on a second, that could maybe influence what I'm doing here. So more as an influence kind of, on the outside, if you like. And definitely for writer's block, I've used it on numerous occasions.
Can you recall any song that was responsible to put you back on track?
Yeah, I don't know. I was very frustrated with a piece I was writing not so long ago, and I went to Kashmir, which is a famous piece by Led Zeppelin, which is quite loud and pompous, and it's got a lot to it. And coming out of it, I suddenly went, well, hang on a second. If I do this, maybe change that and put in here. So yeah, that's the most kind of recent one where I solved a piece of writer's block, let's say, by listening to a specific piece of music. And it was out of frustration because I went to that song because I was really annoyed. And I was like, okay, I need to zone out, stop writing, just do something completely different, stick that song on. I was like, oh, hang on a second, that might work. That would work,
Wasn't the song Born of Frustration?
No.
I love that song, by the way. I'm not a huge fan of Chains, but they have like 2 or 3 songs that they are 5 stars. And Born of Frustration is one of those songs that will put you just in the right place when you are not able to find it by yourself. It's, I mean, it's a celebration kind of song.
Okay, I don't even know that song. That's my homework. I need to go find that.
There you go.
Here we go. For people who are watching us online, the chat box is open, so I'm just keeping an eye here as we speak. So if you want to add your input, you have a question, comment, anything you want to add, let's make sure this session is dynamic and fun. So if you want to talk about music or visual arts, we can go back. I think there's a lot to be said. We couldn't cover it enough. If there is any art you would like us to address, please use the chat box. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you're welcome to do so. Still on music, okay? But now adding dance, now that you mentioned your own
experience.
Ballet. I will stay with you for now, if you don't mind. And I'm not going to ask you to dance. That's fine. No.
Come on, why not?
Sorry to disappoint.
Golden opportunity.
Sorry to disappoint people.
Look, they're disappointed.
Yeah. Can we say that ballet is kind of a feminine thing? I'm just being too old-fashioned here.
No, I wouldn't agree with you on that. I would have a serious admiration for it. Like, that's it. Yeah, it's real like talent and sport in a certain way.
Yeah.
And
just a disclosure, I was being the devil's advocate.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
It wasn't my statement.
It's unlike you.
I was just throwing some provocation.
Unlike you again.
Yes, I did.
And you never do that, do you?
No.
No, but I wouldn't really agree with you there. I have a lot of admiration for it and for the people who do it. Not that I'm going to be one of them very soon in any shape or form.
You could though. You could.
Yeah, no.
You're not a big admirer of ballet yourself.
No, I think I've been sort of slightly maybe traumatized because my mother decided when I was 6 that I should be a ballet dancer. And look at me, like, do I look like a ballet dancer? So maybe I'm slightly traumatized.
Another piece of lore, of your own lore falls in place. And I tell you, I've worked on his book. I think I know everything about him. And then he just goes and he just says, why is this not in the book, by the way, that I've been working on?
There are reasons why it's not in the book.
Now I understand, Maria, why you're not going to be in the same car as us on the way to court, because you listen about everything when it comes to Yaron.
I need to
And
have
he
my
will tell
phone.
it, he will tell us again and again.
Yeah, first of all, I need to have my phone on record every time you open your mouth. I've realized. And two, I think I know more about his life than he does at this moment. And then he just drops down and be so sorry for the frustration part. This is just like, what is this?
I have to say, I'm not a big ballet guy myself. I cannot imagine. I can imagine attending a live session. I think that can be fun, but like watching on television, it's one of those things that I cannot picture myself doing it. First, I cannot even have TV at home, so I'll have to go to people's places, which is something I don't do very often. And one thing I cannot even visualize is the two of us. Let's say myself going to Greystones, drinking a couple of cans and watching ballet. I don't think that will ever happen.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do when we meet in my place. We're going to have a session of watching ballet because I want to see how you two will react to that.
I actually forgot to tell you that I have plans. We already arranged a date.
We'll walk around your class. It's not escaping that.
Very
I'm so
difficult these days, very
excited.
difficult, yeah. But tell me, Maria, what do you get from ballet as a writer and as a person?
Yeah. And I want to ask, did you mean ballet and opera? Because I don't know if you're following
That's a
social
good one,
media. There's
yeah.
a big discussion by I'm not disclosing the actor's name. Is it ballet and opera not great? No, I could not disagree with this any more no, they're really, really important. It's ballet, it's so old, it's such a fantastic form of expression. I've watched a few, some I was very fortunate to watch live, and my Christmas movie is The Nutcracker. And that's a couple of pieces there from the really sad ballets, like I think it's Giselle, the one, I don't remember the specific piece one, that like evoke this sentiment because they're really, really powerful, because again, in ballet, you cannot use your words. So it's whatever the music does to you, whatever the movement. And if you have not watched like Swan Lake and, you know, the dying swan, see how they move their hands, everything. This can be very well works into writing. And that's a theme I explored again in this book that's, I don't know, never getting published potentially, that it's about an artist specifically, again, in a fantasy setting, so I can do whatever I want with it. But I really liked writing about her because it was an art form that doesn't really exist in our world. And I like the idea of how could she, like her whole thing was that she was so good at it. She basically had the world at her feet. And I thought, how can you do that with like not talking, not using this part of your charm, not using that part of your brain, because, you know, humor is a big thing. Talking to people is a big thing. How can you just, you know, by moving around or by moving to music, get to a stage where everyone is just mesmerized by you? And I find that in ballets, actually, it comes to life. It's beautiful. And again, I write fantasy, so I cannot exactly fit this into what I do, but I like exploring around movement, around dancing. I think you got a lot to learn by watching people who are really good at something do it.
Yes.
Because then I think you can describe better, you can understand better. Like you cannot describe an archer's body, for example, and know that you can do if you don't watch an archer, you know, shooting an arrow. You cannot talk about dancing and about a ballroom full of people, for example, if you don't see how they move around the room, like, you know, like you're putting your hand in the sand and you're moving everything around, all these movements, all the way things work with dancing and essentially moving around in a space. There's so many different types of dancing as well. So no, ballet for me is a very, very big inspiration, I'd say. Yeah. And the stories are, it's storytelling without using words. It's fantastic to think about it.
Yeah, just using the body, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing is that the body is a language of itself, because whether you like it or not, we're always sending a message.
Yeah.
The way you move, how fast you go from one place to another, or you remain quiet. There's something to be said about in the way you position yourself and how you interact with the people that have around you. So, and the other thing is that the body is a universal language. So it's not just confined to one culture or the other. You know, we are all made, or most of us made of, you know, the same body structure. So it's very interesting to see how we can tell something to another person just by being mute and using our body. So I admire. It doesn't really talk to my heart, but I admire people that can
it's
do
a type of writing as well, because there is a story behind what they're performing. And again, because they're not using the words, you have to understand the story by what they're doing on the stage. So you could be a writer of like ballet and never have typed a word for a book in your life, and then have some of the most beautiful stories out there that people are dancing to, and it's insane that you can do that, and you don't even need to write anything down really in the book sense.
Yeah, my sister was a ballet dancer when she was a kid.
Okay.
I was not around, so she's 7 years older than me. Or maybe I was, but I was little.
You blocks it.
I was blocked, But my first memories is that's an interesting one. Once we can talk about it, our first memories in life, as people, because I think my first memories probably are from primary school. But like how much of that can we utilize in writing? Maybe that's something for another time, for another show.
Yeah, using your trauma.
Yeah.
Writer's journey is
No,
complicated.
my childhood was very happy. Surrounded by comedy.
Find the drama in.
Was very, very happy. Okay, before moving to next art, I just want to let people know that we have a magazine in the pipeline. It's called Witty Wicklow Writers Magazine. We are still accepting contributions until the 31st of March, so there is still another week. We already have a good few entrants, few dozens, I can't remember the exact number, people coming from all over the road, majority here in Ireland, of course, but we have people as far as Australia. So we are quite...
That was, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Maybe we have some kangaroo, for us.
You will know in a week.
We'll know in a week, yeah. So the 4 winners will be part of the magazine, and the person at the top, that I call the witty winner, maybe it'll be a kangaroo, will be part of the show in June. So, something to look forward. The link is in the description. Check it out. ringofculture.com/publications. There's a form. I think it's straightforward. So please use it. It's still another week. So we plan to announce the winners in April. Anyway, let's go back to next art. And that cinema series and all that jazz. I'm talking about cinema this time. So how did that inspire you, Jeroen, or is it rather a distraction?
No, it's kind of as an aside, but I dream cinematically. I don't know why, but I dream in full Technicolor with music, with sound effects. That's how I dream. So when I write, a lot of the time it's coming from my dreams. I'm trying to channel my dreams, and I'm also making the habit of like waking in the middle of the night and writing down a few words of the dream so that I don't forget it. Because in the morning time, I know what's going to happen. I'll wake up and go, damn it, that was a damn good dream. And I had forgotten about it. So like it's not quite...
Therapists will call it sleep disruption.
But it's more that because of the way I dream, and because I use dreams as a real inspiration for writing. So not necessarily in the traditional sense of cinema, but cinematically, if you like. So I have to say I don't really watch films anymore. Maybe my concentration span has been too short or whatever. I just can't sit down for 2 hours and watch a movie.
You watch TikTok.
That's as far as I go.
But like dreams I use as an inspiration, and because they're very cinematic, that's
And TikTok.
Yeah. I don't even have TikTok. I don't hardly even know what TikTok is. Dinosaur.
Never heard of TikTok.
Well, I've heard of it.
You heard of it.
But so it doesn't really, but just more kind of, from dreams, let's say.
Yeah. By the way, this podcast is thinking to move to other platforms, not TikTok, but sooner than later we will be in Substack. That's the intent. I think it's a good place for writers. There is a cultural vibe. There is a lot of interest when it comes to the matters we discuss here. So I think it will be a matter of a month or two. So if you guys are in Substack, keep an eye. I think by mid-spring, if not summer, we will transition to Substack. Just a heads up for people. And it's a great platform when it comes to content. Interactions, free speech. I can only recommend it, and I'm not being sponsored by Substack. It's really, really, really
It's
good.
a good time for us to try that.
Maria, I know already for a year I think we haven't talked cinema.
Don't think we have. No. I love movies. I love series. My attention span. Yeah, good thing you brought that up because it made me think. Yeah, it's not what it used to be. But again, it's a form of storytelling, and sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, the production value of that movie it's horrible," but the story, and I think that's what keeps you in the end. Like, I'd rather have a really good story and a bad looking sort of movie rather than the other way around. But I also find that it's a really nice way to explore visually, and it helps me in the sense of like with the geography of things, I guess, because I can't just close my eyes and be like, oh, I wonder what the ravine looks like, that looks like this and that, like that, and then you see it in a film and you're like, okay, so there's the rock there, there's the other rock there, and if my person is coming from that way, it helps. Or when you're seeing like war films and you have your Spartans marching down and you see, like, you can picture it more clearly. So I think, yeah, as a cinema fan, it's one thing, but as a writer as well, it can really be helpful to give you an idea of space, I find, as well, of people, of how things look like, because otherwise, I don't know, I'd have to go all over the world and see, oh, what a tavern with this size in the medieval times looks like, or I wonder what, how you can climb a rock like that and then come down the other side. How long will that take? So I think it helped you with some of your research, if nothing else. But I also really, really like the visual aid. And then, the stories and the characters is a different story, or how actors, and I'm talking about the really good actors, portray sentiment. Because the other thing is, because writing is such a solitary thing, I have the way that I react to things, but I don't know how other people react to the same thing. So seeing those stories, if I believe that this is like, you have your own critical thinking. So if I believe what the actor is selling to me, that something happened and the person is having a certain reaction, and I don't recognize it as something I would do myself, that's a character for me. Someone who would flip tables when I'm angry. I don't do that a lot, but so I think it's a really great aid. It really expands your horizons, both visually and lyrically as well. And it's another great art. Like, it has survived for a very long time through so many changes, and we're still looking for the good movies and the good series. We follow the good actors on stage, which theaters and other wow art. But yeah, I think it's really, really important. And I've watched a couple of films and documentaries because I want to get an idea of space. I want to get an idea of what the inside of a temple looks like, for example, without having to, I don't know, try to reconstruct it myself, I guess, or visit it if I can't. So yeah, I'm a fan both as a viewer, I guess, and a writer.
Yeah, myself, every time I'm in a movie theater for 1.5 hours, 2 hours, whatever is the movie length, I see that my perception changes a lot. I think I need to give at least a couple of hours to go back to my own way of seeing the world. There's a lot of noise. There's how things are framed. It is for sure before and after. That's why I love being in a movie theater. I'm not a big fan of watching movies or series at home, but I fancy the idea of being in a movie theater and being absolutely absorbed by what's happening on the screen. Because the moment I go back to, say, reality, sounds are different, people's movements are different, the smells are different, the whole experience of life is different. And when it comes to writing, it will be the same, because then we have a better understanding of how a writing is, how a story is composed. When it comes to pace, when it comes to chapters, when it comes to how the story gets together. So there's a lot to learn from a good movie, of course. Unfortunately, I think cinema is going down the hill as an industry, because it's very much a massive form of art, and I don't think that's particularly noble. I would say there's a lot of dirty money in cinema. When it comes to movie theater, I didn't have this question in mind, but I discussed with our good friend Giorgio, who is a movie director. I start with you, Maria, then I jump to you later, Jeroen. Do you think movie theaters are here to stay, or they're destined to disappear because they are not as popular for the new generations?
I should like to hope there is space for everything. Like we see here, we have the Stella cinemas, is it? And you go back to it because I don't know if you're familiar. They look like a really old sort of style, and you go back and it's the velvet red seats with the gold trimmings and the really nice, space and artistry and everything. And you kind of think it must have been really nice to sit down and watch a classic movie. And I went once. I don't remember. I watched Mary Poppins in it actually, and it was a whole experience to be there and watch it instead of every day, like every week I'm watching something from home. I'm sitting on my couch. It's a whole experience. So I'd like to think that even if it's not as profitable to go and watch it live, and everything is going directly to a lot of things are going to the streaming services first. I still think it would be nice, and I honestly don't think that it will go away completely. But I would not like to see the day where like every city has one, and it's difficult to get into, and they're only playing certain
That's where the
things.
weirdos are going, no? To the movie theater. If you see more than 5 weirdos, there should be a movie theater around.
Maybe that's something to explore. No, but I should like to hope that it will survive it, and not, as I said, one in a city, and or see it going completely. I think there's something about going there and having the whole experience, and a lot of them are designed to incorporate that, how it will feel sitting down and having the surround music, and the technology that comes with it, and all of that is different. Plus, it's given so many people jobs. So every time something starts to die down a bit and it's going directly to service, I'm thinking they don't need more money. Like, can't we just keep things people facing? Like, you're going with your friends to a movie, and I think it says something that I haven't been in a while, because I'm finding less and less things that I actually want to watch. And I think all the things that I want to watch are going straight to streaming services, and it's like, I don't know, you give us the option. Like, it's fun to go and eat your popcorn and be afraid you've broken a tooth. Happens to me almost every time I'm there. Like, I think I have some popcorn trauma associated with the movies, but I like the experience nonetheless. So I think it would be nice to have the option. And
so if there's a dentist watching us, maybe you can look after Maria.
Please, yes, please.
Post
Or
movie theater.
or psychiatrist. Either all, I think at this stage, I don't know what to do. So let's talk about it later.
I've interviewed Giorgio in this podcast. So if you guys are interested, just look for Giorgio Paoletti. I think that's his name.
Paoletti,
Yeah, it was a very interesting one. We talked about cinema, but also about expat life. So it's something you fancy, please have a look. And his view was, before I passed the word to you, his view is movie theaters are here to stay, but they will turn into an elite practice, a bit like opera. Like, there's a very small fraction of the population that consumes opera. So he believes sooner or later, movie theaters will operate in the same manner. How would you approach Giorgio's statement?
Yeah, I probably agree with them. To be honest with you, I mean, I used to be a total cinema buff. Like, I go to movies, every few weeks, and I love that whole immersive thing of being involved in a movie and following a story and being part of it. But I'm afraid that, I don't know, is it the quality of films or is it the experience? Because a lot of the time now it's the experience. It's just not like it used to be. I know I sound like an old man, but I don't care. And I think it's probably going to go that way. Cinemas will stay as they are, but it will become probably more elite. And as the quality goes down, because unfortunately that's what's happening with the, it's just quality is getting worse and worse in my estimation. That's going to happen more and more. And maybe it will become like an opera house or whatever. But I just think it's a shame, because I do think, like Maria said, you have to have space for everything, so you need to have music venues, you need to have cinemas, you need to have, dance theaters, you need to have all of those things need to have space.
I think like social gatherings in general are not that trendy, because people can access a lot of things online. So why bother to go to an event if you can have access to culture just using your phone or your laptop or your tablet? I think that's the big danger of the digital sphere. I'm not cursing on digital world, like how can I, because I benefit a lot from it. But I believe there should be a part of our universe where people can meet, gather, get to know each other in person, and enjoy the event as a social connection. Not just something you do it at home. You know, I think that's sad. And now I've been participating in a few productions recently here in Ireland, in Wicklow, and also in Dublin, where we are today. And I've been seeing the behind the scenes. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
There's so many people that are part of the film.
Yeah.
I was aware that there are way more than I thought, but the number is nowhere near my imagination. Like that, for a single scene, you can have 20 people just for the production, and let alone the actors. Let's say there are 3 people being filmed and another 15 or 20 looking after what's happening. And that's what the people I counted. Maybe there are more, because that the whole studio is huge. So I don't know, but it's fascinating to see the behind the scenes. That's one of the reasons why I started doing these things. I've been enjoying a lot. And then you interact with people who are participating like myself, and there are all sorts of weirdos. All sorts of weirdos. Like I met like people that I probably never met in my life. Like, I don't know, like farmers, successful sales and project managers in their 60s.
Yeah.
You know, queers from Palestine. Random lads from Dundalk.
Yeah.
And they're all there. There's this mixed bag,
That's where all the Dundalk people are going.
Yeah. So that's the film environment, you know. So yeah, quite curious. Let's move to writing, but before that, I just want to let you know people that there will be readings and Q&A for those who are present. Please address your questions at the end. Those who are watching us online, put the questions in the chat box. It's there to make this interactive. So the Witty Wicklow Writers Contest winners will be announced in Cork, 22nd of April. I've been asked this question by many of the participants. If they are watching us, be sure that that's when we are going to announce. The deadline for submissions is 31st of March, but on the 22nd of April at 2 in the afternoon, Ireland Cork time, that's when we are going to announce it. And in May, we have another show in Maria Edgeworth Festival.
Yeah.
So if you guys are around Longford in the Midlands, I hope you are more than welcome to join us. That will be Friday evening, 8 p.m., if I'm not mistaken, around that time. Let's move to writing. Let's try to understand.
Funny that.
There's still room for writing. Yeah. I want to understand, Jeroen, like, would you be able to list who are your major influencers when it comes to writers? Is there anyone you look up as a reference?
There's probably too many to name, to be honest with you, because like we've discussed the last time. I mean, I read a lot, so and I read a lot of types of genres. Although I then tend to stick with either fiction or kind of history and stuff. But there are actually so many writers that I could say, okay, that's an inspiration. And I'll go back to him again. Arthur Conan Doyle. I know it's 200 years ago, but I really like the way he could describe, detail, that kind of thing. Obviously, Tolkien. That's a norm. But there's also many others, writers who write more in a historical kind of way that appeals to me. I'm just trying to think. His surname is Harris, but I can't think of his first name.
What is his surname?
Harris.
Harris.
But yeah, I can't think.
H-A-R-I-S.
Oh yes, yeah.
I hope not Simon Harris.
But no, I can't think of his name now. But yeah, there's loads, and it's funny. We've spoken about this before as well, in terms of when you're writing, you're constantly trying not to take on something that somebody has written before, not just for sort of perjury.
How do you go about that?
To be honest with you, I just think that now everything's been written. There's nothing that hasn't been written yet.
So why do you write?
Because I love it, but also because I think that I can. No, I won't say it arrogantly like that. I don't think I can give you a different angle. It's all been written, so therefore I'm not afraid of perjury because it's all, everything's been written. But why do I write? Because I think that I can give another angle, that there is another angle, maybe. But am I copying maybe somebody? I probably am. I've been inspired by a lot of them, so I probably am slightly taking things, or not even slightly, where I've been inspired by them, by a situation. But yeah, I think it's like, music. You probably have, there's been, every key of music has been played, every type of song has been written, yet people are still making songs and people are creating songs still because they have a different angle to it. That's kind of my view to it. But in terms of I love a writer who can really describe. So when I'm reading it, or when a person is reading it, they're fully invested in, and they are in that book. It's not just an act of opening a book and reading. You're in that world, you're in that space, that's what a writer does to me. So if somebody does that to me, they're an inspiration to me. And there's loads of them. I couldn't, and lots of different genres of writing as well, and not only just modern writers, like old writers too, I'm reading a book at the moment by a 15th century Dutch philosopher, and it's incredible. It's also like really far forward in its thinking in terms of politics, in terms of philosophy.
Is it Erasmus?
No, no.
But you might talk to him, by the way, because he's from your part of Europe, I suppose, like that.
Yeah, but I've never actually read Erasmus yet. Maybe I should do that at some point. But,
is it popular? Because sometimes it's one thing I would like to actually address. Sometimes I have the impression that writers or intellectuals or public figures in general, not just artists, their recognition. It's something they experience from outside, not much from their common fellows. It's quite common. There's a lot of psychology about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why is that.
I'm not sure why that is either. Not really. I've never really thought about that. But you're right.
It happens a lot. Happens a lot. I think, I don't know. I have the impression that if you are from the same country as the writer, maybe you may be able to see things that are not that brilliant because you may have done it yourself. Let's say if he's describing Rotterdam, and you are from Rotterdam or from the area, so you may be able to point out a couple of things that are not as good as someone from Rome, I don't know, Oslo or New York can think. So you're able to be more critic. Maybe that's the reason. I don't know.
Maybe.
Try to think.
Maybe, and also maybe it's the thing of like, I don't know, as humans, we're always a little bit sort of begrudging of the locals.
Yes.
The biggest rival is the small village that's 2 kilometers down the road.
You mean like Bray?
Eh?
You mean like Bray?
Bray. Exactly, Bray. Watch out Friday night.
But Bray's everyone's enemy, and I'm sorry, but government, you need to fix Bray. It's impossible to get in and out. I don't want to get political, but someone has to do something about Bray.
That's why I mentioned a very negative way Simon Harris, because of that and the cliff walk.
Yeah.
For many other reasons, but those two, I won't forgive them. It's incredible.
No, Bray's making us late every day.
How come the cliff walk is not sorted by now? Like Wicklow? No, I don't get it.
I don't get it either, to be honest with you.
It's like 5 years since it's. No, it's 5. No, 5 fucking years.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Yeah.
I read a lot of books in the time that's taken to fix things about.
Yeah.
No, I have the impression that people who are in those positions of power, they can get away with being lazy and inefficient. Whether it's most of the jobs, if you want to do your stuff, here's the door, here's your package. You can survive for a couple of months. And see you next St. Patrick's. Yeah. Talking of going back to writing, we can do one more about hot topics, but let's stick to writing now. I am of the opinion that you cannot be a good writer without being an avid reader. Would you go by my statement, Maria?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
it's like trying to paint, but you've never seen a landscape, I guess. I don't know. It helps. I think it's how you know that you'd want to give writing a try, knowing that, oh, that's how, like, there's stories in the world. The stories, not I woke up and I had my coffee. There's stories, and then the more you read, you might start having your own ideas, or you might start, being critical of something that you're reading, or, oh, I wish they had done, the characters had done made that choice, or the story had gone that way, and then you've got something brewing. So I think you need to start reading in order to develop perhaps a passion for writing. And when you start writing, I think it's really important, and everyone's saying, like, read a lot in your genre to see how other people are doing it. And again, going back to what you said, which was a major pain point for me as well, because my story is about a group of people that need to go to a place and do a thing, which is quintessentially Tolkien. So I thought everyone is going to think, if I ever publish this book, that I'm copying Tolkien, I'm plagiarizing him. And the answer to that was, I found out on Ireland's publishing show last week that everything has been pretty much done. And things that we think, oh, are popular because someone did them, they're popular because they're a trope. The group of people that are brought together because they have a quest is a trope, is not, someone once thought of it and everyone since then has been copying them. I'm going a little bit out of topic here, but yeah, completely lost my train of thought. But I was just answering his question, then I got too passionate about it. You can read everything, and then you may want to write a different thing. Like what I'm writing at the moment, I don't feel I've read it before. And yeah, parts of it, like, oh, there's, I don't know, the dead rising from the ground, we have to find ancient zombies. Fantastic, someone has done that. But the way I've thought of it, the way I'm writing about it, what it means to me, perhaps there's a parallel with something, perhaps it's a way for me to lead the characters into making a specific choice. And maybe I've read about it, but it is my interpretation. It is what I want my people to deal with, or it's their relationships that I'm building between them. And I don't think you need to copy anyone to write a good story. But yeah, if you try to, go as far back as you can, I'm of the, opinion that the ancient Greeks wrote pretty much everything. So we shouldn't cancel everything that's been done since then, because you go to the Odyssey, you go to the Iliad, you go to all the plays and the philosophical talks, and they've covered so much ground that would say, okay, like imagine if Shakespeare went back and said, if Tolkien went back and said, oh, I'm not going to write a ring because the actual myth of the ring that makes you invisible, it comes from an ancient Greek myth. Imagine if he had said, now someone's talked about a magical ring, I'm not going to do that, it's going to be a magical hat or something, and then we wouldn't have the exact literature that we have around the ring, because he thought, oh, someone else wrote it before. I think it's nice to see how different people take a story that might be similar in a lot of aspects and what they do with it. Like the group of people that goes on a quest, do they kill each other? Do they become stronger afterwards? Do they become best friends? Just the act of, like, the idea. It doesn't mean anything by itself. What do you do with it? It's the setting, it's the music that goes with it, it's the characters that go into it. You can read the same story so many times and yet find something different with it. Like I read, it was a retelling of Snow White by Neil Gaiman. And now we've seen Snow White in so many different media, books, movies, films, series, backpack stickers, everything. And it was fantastic what he did with it, because it was something that I hadn't read before. And it's the same. It was Snow White. Really interesting. I would read it again. I talk about it so much, and retellings of myths and all of that. I mean, and if you go then into different countries and check their mythology or their religion and stuff, there's such common ground. Like you have Noah's Ark, but the Japanese also have an ark in their mythology, and they could not have met at that time where the ark was, taking place, and it's insane. And if you think everything in terms of someone has done it already, you're never going to get anything done in any art, in any medium, I think.
Yeah.
So that's what pushed me over, really made a lot of progress with my story since last week, because basically they kicked out of the way the major block for me, which was, am I just redoing something? And the answer is no, just say your story. It's incredible to think about.
Yeah, I was just going back to my memories when I was in university. I studied philosophy, for those who are not aware of. I haven't finished my degree, which was one of my main achievements in life. So I had this professor who was absolutely brilliant. He was my middle-aged philosophy professor. And he loved that period. He was a bit fan of St. Augustine and St. Thomas and all that. And most of us are not that interested by Middle Age philosophy. We tend to look down on them. So this was, a period where the church was in charge and there was not much room for intellectual development, which is complete bullshit. I understand it. So later it was complete bullshit. Not saying it was the most creative part of human history. There's a lot of talent during those centuries. Anyway, his view was we treat them as Middle Age thinkers, but they didn't see themselves like that. For them, they were moderns. They were modernity because they look back. They were way more advanced when it comes to technology in their own load, in their own when it comes to infrastructure. They were advanced. That's all the fact. The other one, you look at ancient philosophers in Greece, the ancient. They didn't see themselves as ancients for sure. No. So and now we can't even call ourselves modern. We call ourselves postmodern. Now I wonder what is that postmodern? No?
What you're asking us for? Do you know? I don't know.
What a
question.
What a title, no? Postmoderns, no? So I don't know when the postmodern period will finish. I think it started around the 70s. I would say.
Have maybe you have meta-modern next.
What?
Meta-modern. Which is an actual word in Greek, so you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Meta-modern. Yeah, we've been using it.
By the way, in Hebrew means death.
Yes, you give us a fantastic job on this.
Actually, there's a lot of jokes in Israel when Mark Zuckerberg, who is Jewish, happens to come up with a meta thing. This is a funeral.
Yeah, we had a lot
Maybe
of
it was
fun.
a funeral of Facebook anyway.
We had a lot of fun as well because meta means after. So it was the after Facebook, the after this, the after that, and it's I don't know, it's a funny concept if you're a Greek speaker. So yeah, maybe meta-modern needs to come to English now. Maybe it's time.
Maybe it's the death of modernity. Yeah, that's what Mike. But I wonder what people in next century are going to call themselves, because what are we going to be postmoderns forever? But there's nothing after postmodernity. That's it. We are moderns, and then there is a period after.
Post, maybe?
Maybe post. They come up with all these funny titles these days. I really don't know.
I'm very happy to let them figure it out themselves. Like I'm having enough trouble to keeping up with all the different gens as it is. Like, what am I? I'm a millennial, I'm a Gen Z, and I'm the deck. So no, just I'll let them.
That's another one. You got into Z, so where do we go?
I have no idea what's going on. I just know the year that I'm born, and that's it. So no, I don't know. I don't know where anything is going to go and what it's going to be called. So I'm not going to bother with it.
Yeah, I think we're going to be postmoderns forever. And I think there's a lot of arrogance when they call themselves postmoderns, because that's the future. Like we are very much advanced. Now, I'm not a big of postmodern thinkers by default. Derrida, all this. There's no French here. All these French intellectuals. I'm a big fan of Camus. That's a different thing, but not of the others. So I wonder what's next, and maybe now what we can do, we can recreate what was done, we can reinvent what was invented. We cannot do it from scratch. Perhaps we can use that material to redo things that were done in the past. I think that's our room. I cannot think of anything else, because the human genius and the human talent and the human bright minds have been around for quite some time. So what you can do is adapt. I think I would say
just add to the general, I don't know, culture of the world. I guess we should be as lucky as to not, be taking it down a notch with what we do.
Yeah, that's
nice. Let's do our bits now. We'll jump into the readings. We'll keep the old-fashioned order.
He looks at me. I know I'm in trouble.
Okay. Which means Maria will go first.
Yeah, but you know what to do for me? You always make me laugh right before the reading, and I have to keep a serious face because I'm writing sort of serious stories, and I'm always about to be like,
why? They have a very dry sense of humor. But the same
I
comedian.
have to have the right face. You just don't make me laugh before you throw that at me. Have you go first?
okay. I can go first if you want.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Okay, I'll get my
You
my
don't just,
game face on.
just-
Save the
you
dance.
just
I'll
can't-
just laughing too
You don't
much.
just change gender to be first. Yeah.
So yeah, this is a piece that I just put together yesterday. So yeah, well, here goes. It could almost be said of my mum that she had too many talents. When my dad came back into my life years later, he always said that my mum had too many talents, but was not a master of any of them. And I'd have to agree. She could do pretty much anything creative. She was probably the total creative. In her youth, she had studied sculpture and indeed won some prizes for her sculptures. As a young woman, this is what she felt drawn to. She painted a lot of amazing paintings, but never exhibited in her life. After her passing, we managed to arrange an exhibition of her paintings, which is still something that I'm really happy about now because of the reactions we got for it. She won a European song contest for minority languages, and the prize was to bring out a single, which she did. She had written the song herself too. She was a published poet. She'd written a novel about her experiences in Northern Ireland. She was a painter, writer, singer, musician, poet, linguist, mural maker, and sometime teacher. On top of all that, she was a very good mum and brought up 3 small children alone in a small village in the west of Ireland. As kids, the evenings were always spent with maybe her playing guitar and singing to us, reading poetry by Seamus Heaney, or all of us doing art together while listening to music on cassettes and later CDs. She did a lot of small part-time jobs to supplement her meager income. She was a tour guide, a translator, an interpreter, an artist model, and a language teacher, amongst many other things. She started kids' French class on Saturday afternoon in the local community centre, but she always wrote. For a time, she brought out a self-published magazine for the Flemish and Dutch speakers in Ireland, and in it she wrote like short news stories, poems, and games for kids of bilingual families. It was small scale, but it was something to bring out a monthly magazine all by herself for about a year. Overwhelmingly, though, she always wrote letters. Her handwriting was very beautiful, and her letters could be long and very descriptive, or short and to the point. She was a great believer in letters and writing to people. This was the era before email and internet, and there was always something special, and even at that stage, old-fashioned about her letters. She would doodle little artworks on the sides or write some political slogan on the borders. She was very political, so these slogans would cover whatever was happening at the time. She'd always forget to add something and then write an addendum or write something in the corner somewhere. Everywhere I was, the letters would follow. They would contain news of my household, about my brother or sister, maybe a relationship she was in, or a conversation with the neighbor, things that had happened during the week. Her viewpoints on something going on in the news. Sometimes they would amount to 2 or 3 a week. They were always very special to me, and I would read them almost feeling her loving gaze or her hugs and feeling at home sitting in our living room. Later on, it became a pattern where I hated seeing an envelope with that standout handwriting on it. At that stage, she had succumbed to bipolar disorder and other mental health problems. These letters were then rambling, angry, venomous, or full accounts of her latest escapades when in a high state. Now, though, I would give anything to see one of those voluminous envelopes coming through to my letterbox.
So done. I just want to encourage people that were watching online, if you want to share your feedback on Jeroen's piece. To me, it was 5 stars. I'm happy to be challenged, but I think it was really, really good. Where are you at with your book?
So my book is finished. The first edit has been done. The second edit has started. So I'm looking that it will become, or will get to a publishing house this year to get out. And that's the first book. There's second book is probably, 60, 70 pages in now. The third book I started on.
Is that a third book?
It's the third book.
It's news, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
There was
new,
more. There was more.
Totally new. Yeah, Yeah.
Do you want to share or just you?
No, it's still kind of a nascent idea. So but it's coming, and it's a couple of short stories and stuff. But the first book is done, and now it just needs to get edited and get published,
Yeah.
which hopefully is this year.
Yeah, usually it takes longer to find a publisher than to finish the book. That's my experience. Yeah, so talking about my books, with your permission, I will leave it to the end.
You don't have it.
I don't have it. Oh, okay. We'll do what is this game? With the
Whacker.
I'm going to read 2 poems of my collection, Hurricane of Guest. Okay, copies are available for those in the premises for 20 euros. I will happily sign them. If you are interested on mine, I can ship for pretty much everywhere in the world. So you can order using the email info@ringofculture.com, and I will ship the book to you in a few days. I will send the pay link when I reply. So I'm going to pick 2 prose poems. Will be totally random. I hope I won't be unhappy, but let's see. What goes first? So first one is called Bon Vivant. Sorry for my broken French, but I'm learning French because it may be useful in the future. Right, so I wrote this. I have not written lately. I have not found it necessary to find a heaven in verse. Wine allows me to go on, lights up the way ahead, tames the path. You say that I smoke, but I object that I wear a cigarette on the tip of my lips like a cover around the neck. In order to mend the disconnected mood, I let myself live and exist, unannoyed, unworried, not needing to write or perform any artistic act that will leave a mark on the road or in a word, last. I'd rather live by throwing. These days I say throwing on X. Anyway. Maybe I will come to regret it when I lie on my deathbed, when I see myself turn into a horrific spectre, irremediably, with no time left for not being able to live, except in the memory of people as ephemeral as the smoke that doesn't leave my mouth. That was the first.
Cool.
Yeah, it was good. Good random.
Yeah, I like that random one.
Yeah. Do another one.
Those are
I'll do another one. Yeah.
Really cool.
Just because Maria is asking.
Yeah, it wasn't his idea from the start.
Right. Actually, I'm happy because I think it came in the right context.
Mm.
You know, things don't happen by chance. Huh? Right. So I use my tongue to pick next one, and that's James Connolly at Liberty Hall. Those who are here in Dublin, we all know James Connolly. If not the man himself, you will know the train station. I actually read this poem next to James Connolly statue. It was very touching. Right. The poem says the following. You never gave your name to a street. Around here, the streets tend not to have their own names. Instead, you self-baptize a railway station, recently extended for the trams, and now the main one in the city, which will never be known as the central one, because we are not on the continent, and public transport don't cross here. All the same, that does not constitute a catastrophe. We may leave your station and head for Belfast without anyone asking for a passport or any kind of identity card. We can travel and be free, make use of the time to be in different places every 5 seconds. The opposite of death. So if you guys are interested, I'm happy to hand over a copy. I can accept cash, Revolut, PayPal.
Life, dead.
Yeah, well, I accept everything.
I like that.
I'm pretty flexible. So if you want to order online, I can send a pay link, and I'm happy to sign it before I ship it to your home. Maria, your time to shine.
It's my turn now. Hold on to your seats. Okay, so this is, I had it in the backlog first time, and I actually worked more on it today, and I think it's got the potential to go further yet. So I'm hoping to have it online on Readsy by the end of the week, but you're getting the first taste of it because it's not up online yet. So it's a short thing I wrote called The Contest. The contest that took place on a warm afternoon in the small mountain village was a painting competition between the school teacher and a passerby. It was just after the last class of the day had ended, children rushing out, books left behind, forgotten. The school teacher had commented on the passerby's technique as the latter was taking confident strokes on the square's bell tower. The passerby had replied with disdain. The school teacher had raised his eyebrows and pointed out that if the passerby knew any better, he wouldn't have chosen this particular hue to paint cold stone. The passerby had commented that it's easy to discuss art when all the art one knows is drawing circles with chalk on a blackboard. The argument had gotten heated enough to wake up the baker sleeping on his counter, still much with flour and seeds, to make him stretch his neck out and over the windowsill to see what the commotion was about. And now for the old lady on the opposite end of the square to water her pale roses a little longer than she usually did. And finally, enough for the whole neighborhood to take an interest. Soon, the entire village had decided that whatever was happening in front of the bell tower was certainly much more interesting than whatever they could be doing at home in the afternoon right after school. The mayor made a forced appearance, and so did his daughter, and it was her appearance that turned the argument into a contest. The two contenders agreed to sit side by side, each equipped with a fresh canvas and an easel. The school teachers had to be fetched from his house. The passerbys had to be shamed to stop its wobbling by use of an unfortunate loaf of bread that happened to still be around, courtesy of the baker's wife, and paint the mayor's daughter, a rose from the old lady's garden, holding her hair back over an ear. During the first hour of the contest, the passerby walked to the makeshift stall that the tavern boy had quickly set up a few paces behind the easels, and grabbed a cold beer, downed it in one go, and got back to his work. On the second hour, the school teacher took a break for a slice of bread and cheese from the next stall over, courtesy of the now very awake baker and the mayor, who had seemingly graciously provided some nourishment to accompany the refreshments and add to the general merriment. By the third hour, the school teacher had dropped his brush, having adorned his painting with blotches of a vivid red that he would never again produce. The mayor's daughter had leaned on her side, the pale rose hanging low from the still curls of her golden hair. The mayor, the baker, the entire village had dropped on the ground, eyes bulging open, exposing still irises, purple veins branching out around them, cold hues, beautiful, beautiful art. The passerby added the last stroke to his painting and sighed. "I think I'll name this one Bell Tower at Dusk," said Death, backed his easel, and departed.
That's cool.
Well done.
That's
Thank
really
you,
cool.
thank
I
you
like
very
that.
much.
That was very good.
Yeah, I
I
like
like
the
that.
little twist at the end.
Yeah.
Again, people online want to comment.
You should
on
say
writings.
something.
Yes, yes. You've been very quiet. You have no reason to because you are comfortably seated in your couch. I can imagine. So please let us know how do you see our writings. Is there anything you would like to highlight? Anything we could do better? Anything you really connect to? We're happy to explore. So yeah, so we build up our artistic souls here with our readings. You even mentioned Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Maria, you painted pictures with words, and I just try not to ramble too much. I didn't. And for everyone here, you've been very much patient listeners. And now is your turn to raise your voices, inspire us, confuse us, grieve us. We're happy for everything. You, people in the premises, and you, people online. So questions about art, questions about the magazine, cheeky questions. We're happy to take any sort of comments. We are three open books here. So hands up, voices loud, no wrong answers. Who is going to break the ice? I think we have a writer here. Maybe the writer can say something.
Like I was having a conversation with you earlier, think that music, art in general influences writing, because I feel like sometimes I could be lost with, like you said, almost everything has been written before.
Yeah.
So sometimes you could be lost about what to write. So sometimes it could be like drawing back from writing a little bit, listening to music,
Yeah.
watching a movie, and something just popped into your mind, and it might not even relate to the particular music or the movie you're watching, but maybe a particular word that you heard from the music or a particular scene in the music just brings a memory to you, and you're like, wait a minute, I think I've not seen anything about this thing in a while, or I've not seen it in this angle. So writing now much feels like we are kind of like picking angles from which we come from. Yes, we know that this piece of writing probably exists before, but does anybody see it from the angle that I'm seeing it from? So that's where you're able to shape whatever you're writing, and it comes like, okay, I remember recently I wrote an article on, because usually people talk about cycling in Ireland.
Yeah.
And they talk about it in a way that looks like, oh, it's very fashionable to circle in Ireland and stuff like that. But then I just thought about it and I'm like, has anybody actually written about the experience of delivery riders that cycle in Ireland?
Yeah, true.
And then I felt like, I don't think so. And then I took that and I ran with it. And I still feel like that's like one of the best pieces that I've found interesting working on, because I've not seen it anywhere before. It felt like I was doing something new.
Yeah.
And maybe it existed before, but probably not in the light that I was looking at.
Yeah.
So I think that's my takeaway from some of this conversation.
Yeah.
That was very good.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
You wanna
Yeah.
reply or-
I like that concept actually, because you know, that's the whole thing is looking at it from a different angle, you know, and like, yeah, just do something like that where you're writing about something that maybe has not been written about in that way. That's, yeah, I like that. But I think, you know, to your point about music and painting, that kind of thing, it is sometimes difficult to write. Sometimes you're very blocked.
Yeah.
Sometimes the only thing you can do is stop and just go away from it. And what's the best thing to do? Then distract yourself by looking at painting, that movie, whatever. And I always find that when I do that, then I can come back to where I was blocked, and I'm sort of unblocked, you know. So as an inspiration source, it's great, but also as a, you know, to stop me being blocked.
That's very good. No, I think it kind of works the same way as, you know, you're hungry, you see someone cooking, or you smell the food and then you become even hungry. It's like doing one thing inspires you to do another, as if all like arts are interconnected in a way. So yeah, you can absolutely leave it, or you can go for a walk or do something else that's not creative per se, but it's something out in nature where we're meant to be, and you distract yourself enough and in sufficiently enough, I guess, then it raises other questions. It helps you have other pictures in your head. So yeah, I think like really interesting angle on what you were writing, by the way. But yeah, I'd say that's how it works. Like they're all exist in the same plane. I guess they're part of the same part of our brain as well. So maybe there's a very scientific reason why we feel they're all helping us when we're stuck or when we get inspiration from.
Yeah, I would like to expand on what you are saying. I would endorse everything that was said, but I would like to probably rename angle as your own voice, okay? Or being original.
Yeah.
But I think that's all we are striving for as creators. We want to build an identity. We want our piece to sound like ours. Want to own it. I think it's crucial for a creator to have a style. And I would say you are mature when you can recognize what you do as yours, okay? That comes with time, that comes with experience, that comes with dedication, patience, and be able to distance yourself from what you produced. Because often when you write, you are very much passionate about it, and you might think, oh, this is fabulous, this is something that will change the world. And frequently, it's not the case. It's just a piece of writing. So you need to allow the thing to cool down, a bit, a bit like cooking. You cook and then you wait a couple of minutes, and then you can look at it with the proper judgment. Okay, but I would say for a creator, whether it's a writer, a musician, or a painter, you need to be able to produce something that can only be created by you. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's top quality. It just needs to sound something that is yours. And I would even say that as you are known or your stuff is shared with the public, there is more merit when your piece is not only recognized by you, but also for the people that are, let's say, reading your stuff. Like they open this book and they say, "This is shite, this is Vitor." That's fine. If people recognize it, it's fine. I'll be happy with that. I'm not going to read it. Or, oh, here's a Vitor's book. I'm not watching Champions of tonight. I'm reading the book. So it's very important to have an identity, and I think that's about being original. When that angle, it's your angle, and you own it, for better and worse.
Yeah, I think someone said you're the only one who's lived your life in a sense. So yeah, different perspectives, different voice, different aspect. But have you ever thought that, I wonder how that person, that director, for example, had done this story, or how if that writer retold this myth. And I think sometimes we found ourselves wanting the same thing to be reproduced by someone else, just because they'll have a different approach to it. So yeah, I think it's very interesting. I think it should definitely not be something that stops you if you want to start exploring, no matter, if it's storytelling or journalism or anything in between. You just sit down, give it a try. You may come up with something that's very, very original and you're very, very pleased with, even if at the beginning it feels like, it's so overdone.
And I think one cannot go against the idea that being original is a good thing. Might not be your piece of cake, what the writer has produced, but if he or she is able to create something that could only be created by himself, then it's already an achievement. So I think we should all strive to be original, and for that you need a huge degree of self-awareness. Know who you are, what you are trying to attain with your writing, and perhaps have some understanding of what kind of people are going to read your stuff. So there is I think that's how the process works from A to Z.
Just because just because I'm apart from doing journalism, also in the creative space as a photographer and cinematographer. And sometimes I think that the issue of trying to stand out and having your voice in the creative industry can be a little dicey as a creative in that aspect, because you probably want to create new images, but to be honest, there is nothing new to what you are creating about images. It has all been created before. So now my question will be, because sometimes for a photographer or a cinematographer, you are obviously looking up to somebody who, when will my image get to this point? And do you constantly see yourself trying to copy per se? And okay, I think I like this look that this person has created. Then you want to replicate the same thing. So when does it become copying and taking you away from your originality?
Good question. That's a very good
When becomes copy?
Where do you draw the line?
I don't know, so you can start.
Well, I suppose for me, like I said earlier on, everything's been done. It's all been done, but as opposed to
sometimes it's like you lose yourself.
But you kind of have to go, well, it's all been done, but it hasn't been done by me. No, but that's just joking. But we do have another angle, and you're not copying somebody because it's you that's producing that. So in the case of photography, even if it's a certain style or a certain type of photography, when you've seen it before, but it's not you that's done it before. So that's where, there's always maybe not a new angle, but a different angle.
Or probably you bring it to a new audience.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, a new audience, and so where is the line? Where is the line? Well, I think that these days the line is gone, because everybody's copying a little bit of everybody else, and everybody isn't totally 100% original. That's true. However, they are coming at it from their angle, from their life experience, from their, eye. To say it like that in terms of photography. That's the way I'd see it. I don't think there's a line anymore because it's all been done. But there's still a new angle to come at it from, if you like.
I would add to that. Can I just add something here? I think we are focusing a lot on the creator, which it's not a problem, but I would expand, for the sake of this reflection, I would expand that to the object. Okay, so the object has been super exploited by now. Okay, so the object of writing, of creating, okay, of photographic, because now we have technology, we have tablets and webcams and Wi-Fi and all that. Well, does that really matter? Probably not. Okay, much, because the object is still the same. The object is still human soul, the human spirit, and that is transversal across human history. It doesn't matter if we're talking about 21st century, 16th century, or just going to be simple, the ancient Greeks or ancient Romans. I know we discussed this, but let's say that the 2,000 years ago, we are still the same humans. There are things that we cannot walk away from. Okay, I think especially two. One is love and affection, because we are all driven by how others interact with us and how we should position ourselves in the wider humanity. That has always been a tension when it comes to existence. Okay, regardless of the surroundings, we all experience that, and doesn't matter if you're talking about current day or let's say the Renaissance. That's the same. And then the same applies to different parts of the planet. That's a tension that the men in South Hemisphere and North Hemisphere are going to experience, because that's something that we are built with. Okay. The other one is death. Everyone died till today's date. No, everyone died. Probably we are going to die. Statistically wise, that's the
Good chance.
That's on the that's on the card. So finitude is something that, whether it's conscious or not, it will always be part of how we see the current day and the future ahead. So that will always play a role in creation, because there is a part of our life that is unknown, the day after, and the rest of our lives. So how we put that into words, then it's our exercise. But the object is there to stay. So whether we like it or not, love and death are topics that will always be part of the human creation. And they are endless. And because they are endless, there's a source there that we could all utilize. And if we manage to be original, then there is room for us.
I think there is a line, actually. Like for me, there would be a line. I think I would draw it between like the conscious and the subconscious. So the intention and the influence, I guess, because it's one thing to say like I'm heavily influenced by Tolkien, who was very influenced by the ancient Greeks, and perhaps that's why my kinship with him lies. But I wouldn't go pick a piece of Tolkien or any other and say, okay, if I phrase this like this and that, and if I add this and that, then it will not look like his, it will look like me. I wouldn't do that. What I would do is like, I'd recognize the influence that certain authors and certain works have on me. Like last year, I read The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and a thing that he does so brilliantly in his books is that he puts stories within the story. And I thought that's brilliant. Like, that's fantastic.
Mm.
It's such a great way. And I saw how, the main thing was going on. And then all of a sudden there was someone saying a tale, a fairy tale, something. And I was drawn into that. And I'd left the main story behind because I wanted to see what was happening in the tale. And then when it was over, back into the main story I was. And I thought that was a great way of saying a story. Very ancient thing to do. I discovered it through him. I had never really noticed it before, I think. And now that's something that I use in my storytelling. And I think there's a difference between using ways to tell your story and using actual words and actual ideas from other people, knowing that I'm stealing it and I'm intentionally rephrasing it to cover for the fact. Like if we write about dragons, for example, and fantasy is really big for that. Or if we if we write crime stories, every crime under the sun, there's a book about it. But if I say, oh, I wonder like if two brothers had a fight, because I don't know, my family had a fight, for example, and I say, okay, what if my aunt such and such killed my aunt such and such, and then I'm putting that into the story. I'm not going to, oh, Gothic Christie is this book specifically, it's two sisters who kill each other. It's how I thought of something. So yeah, someone did it, someone said it. Maybe I happen to use, I don't know, poison, like the same method. But if that's because I am so influenced by Agatha Christie because I've read every what she's ever written, and then I get into crime because of that, and then I read crime, and then I picture crime, and then I'm interested. I don't feel that is stealing her work. I feel that's, being true to where your inspiration is, crime and people, conflicts and family drama and all of that. So I think as long as you're not intentionally trying to cover it, it's okay to be inspired by everything and by, being influenced by something. And I've recently found out that in Hollywood, the best way to pitch something apparently is call it, oh, it's such and such meets such and such, because that's the common ground. Like that's why you talk about the new idea. You're making people interested in something they already know. So that I think applies to writing as well. It's like, I don't know, family drama, but with dragons. That's actually a really good idea. Maybe next one. But if I say, okay, I'm still in family drama, I'm still in the concept of dragons, then there's nothing. But I don't know of a book that's dragons fighting each other because they were invited to a birthday party and one of them brought a shitty gift that another one had given it to him at the party. So I'm actually having so many ideas, but this is what these conversations are for. So I think, be true to what the story you want to say. And if it comes from your heart and if it comes because you want to write it, I think there will always be a part of you. And that's the original part in every story, I think, what we put into it.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was thinking here is you need to write things that can be relatable for people. Okay, I think that's where the merit is, that you write a story or you write a poem or even an essay, and people can recognize themselves in the character, in the narrator, in the verse, or in the idea that you are trying to transmit. So I think you can achieve a lot if you're able to write in a way that people can relate to. Okay, like this is me. When the reader has that impression, this is me. Like, let's say you are writing about someone who is very anxious and he's going through a lot of psychological drama when he's waiting for the bus. Probably you don't get on public transport yourself because you work from home or you drive, but you can relate to that tension about not knowing exactly what's happening, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, so even though you are describing a situation that the reader didn't experience, he can mirror himself in what the character or you are going to, by the way you put that in words. So if you are able to be someone that people can relate to, chances are that people will be more interested into your stuff. And I'm not being commercial here, okay? But I'm more thinking about that. Let's say if you want to be read in the next century, then you need to be right in a way that it's not just about catching the buzz or going out after a few pints. It's about the human heart. So if you're able to express human heart, you're going to be someone that people want to read in the current day, and going forward. That's why classics are classics.
Mm.
You know.
Mm.
Any other questions online, public? If not, we'll close up.
I am so sorry.
Well, folks, that was a fantastic way to celebrate our first anniversary. Thank you, Jeroen. Thank you, Maria, for your brilliant, witty insights, those gorgeous readings, and making the art feel so alive and interconnected tonight. A massive Gahev Mo. Agat, am I pronouncing it right?
Guru
Oh my
Mahagat.
gosh.
Oh, you know. Next time
One sentence.
I'll hand over this words for you. So a big, whatever Jeroen just said, every single one of you in the room, your questions, especially your presence, turned this into a real conversation, just like the Witty Wicklow Writers Workshop has been for a year now.
Yeah.
So we went through a lot of travel, love, Shakespeare, reading habits, and now the beautiful ways painting, music, cinema, theater, ballet, and writing itself cross-pollinate and inspire us. And one thing I'm clear, a few, but I will highlight this one. Our community here in person and folks online, our community is thriving because people like you that show up, thank you very much. People like you that are sharing while you watch this podcast online, we are keeping the words flowing. Couple of reminders before we wrap, very important. Our open call for the inaugural issue of the Witty Wicklow Writers magazine. You don't get twice in the first edition, there's only one. It's a law of life. It is still live right now as we speak. There'll be another week. So poetry, short fiction, creative nonfiction. So welcome. Submission closed 31st of March. So go and get those pieces polished and send them over via Ring of Culture .com/publications. And whether you are a regular here or someone new tonight, this is your chance to be part of what we are building. So if you wanna be with us next couple of months, you can find us in Cork with our Witty Energy. Cork Rose Book Fest on April 22nd at Cork City Library at 2 in the afternoon. And then May 15th at the Maria Edgeworth Festival. It's a festival named after Maria.
Very clearly so.
So another reason for you to come over. And please join us for more readings, more banter, more crack, more stories. Follow Ring of Culture on socials. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay in the loop. Thank you, Arthaus Hotel, for hosting us tonight. And I want to thank also the Poetry Ireland, the Dublin Jewish Community, and City.ie for promoting our event.
Yeah.
And most of all, thank you, everyone who is here and at home for making this year so special. Here's to year 2, more inspiration, more witty spirits, more crack, more banter, more words that matter. For those in the room, stick around for chats, drinks, and we may come up with a story starting here tonight. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you, folks. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's recording.